サビ数を人為的に吹かせたというのか。まさかどうやって。
いい声出すじゃねえかじいさん。昔日本をサビまみれにした巨大兵器はその体内にサビの炉を飼っていた。自分の中で無限にサビを生成することができたのさ。そいつだよ。そこで寝てるそいつが東京に穴を開けて日本をサビの海に沈めたんだ。
鉄人。
Hello and welcome everyone to Castaway Anime. I'm your host, Crunchy Bagels.
And I'm NeonManta.
And today we're covering the last 5 episodes of Rust Eater Bisco.
And what is this? What's this? I'm reaching and pulling out of my chest like a knife that's been stabbed into my chest. Oh, it's got disappointment written all over it.
Oh god, disappointment's written on the ceiling. Oh god, it's also written on the floor too. Oh god, it's written on my forehead. It's everywhere, disappointment. Every single part of the room.
And it was looking so promising too. Cause I wasn't, over the moon for the show after the first podcast, or the first half of the series, but I had no reason to think it would go down this way.
Well, I guess to be as fair as possible to Rust Eater Bisco. I mean, we're both going to be destroying it later, but to be as fair as possible, it only really got horrible on at the very last episode, and it was kind of just bleh in episode 11. At least that was my takeaway. Episode 11 was just sort of normal, boring to me, and then episode 12 was. My table has a dent in it from how many times I bashed my head against it, hoping I would be able to wipe my memory of this show. But it's not all bad. It's just very painful aftertaste.
I would disagree about the episode 11 comment. I would say that it got bad after episode 9. Or at least it didn't need to go on past episode 9. Like, the way that episode ends. Hang on, let me make sure I've got my timeline correct here. Yeah, episode 9.
So episode 9.
Need to go.
I guess we can just say it. Episode 9 is when at the end Bisco, in giant quotes, dies, but not really.
In an epic sacrifice that he takes the big bad Kurokawa down with him into what is essentially the mushroom rust lava. And they both burn up, and that's the end of that. And his soul is passed on, his will, his fighting spirit, his everything is passed on to Milo, and we get a nice thematic ending, like the closest thing to themes that the show has, and we would have gotten it with that episode 9 ending. But that show kept going, because you'll look down at the webpage that you're watching the show on, you're like, interesting. Why are there 3 more episodes when the plot is clearly done? Our main villain is dead, and our main titular character is also dead. Everything's going to seem to work out just fine. How can we squeeze out any more possible conflict?
Well, you do that by mysteriously reviving the villain, a la. Okay, he's basically in a Titan.
My note was, I guess we're Attack on Titan now.
So he gets
except
revived
even worse CG.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, now that you've reminded me, episode 10 was shit. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, it was bad as soon as episode 10 began.
Dude, that Titan, the fucking, what's it called? The Tetsujin? It looks butt ugly. Like, not only is it just bad CG, it had that horrible fucking low-resolution red mist effect all over it. And like, I couldn't tell you why it's so low-res, but it is, and like, looking at it hurt my eyes every time. It's like, no, get it off the screen. Shoot, fucking throw up the cross up at it.
For the most part, I was able to just barely tolerate it. I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, if they keep on writing good, I guess I can just barely let this by. But like every time it made like a movement for like an attack or something like that, it just looked off. It's like, ew. And then as I'm watching it, sort of like amble around and all that stuff, in my head, I was sort of like thinking, what would this scene look like if they had a thing that's like properly animated, all smooth and all that?
I have the answer
like,
for that.
Looks cool.
I have the answer for that, Crunchy. Let you go. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go up. You're gonna look up seasons 1 and 2 of Attack on Titan, and you're gonna watch the animation of the Colossal Titan at work, and notice how they didn't have to resort to ugly 3D CG models to give him a nice, scary sense of weight and presence.
Except in that one scene in season 2, but we all wish we forgot that.
Oh, did they have CG in season 2?
Yeah.
Ah, well, that makes sense. It was
just a little bit.
It was a 2017 anime, so what? Yeah. Well, it's season 2 is 2017. Dude,
season 2 does not feel like 2017.
Dude, fucking the Attack on Titan timeline within show release wise is so fucking weird, especially when you consider like no one gave a shit back when it came out. Because like when season 1 came out, Attack on Titan was like the anime. Like if you weren't watching Attack on Titan, you were out of the fucking loop. And then season 2 came out, and then it took too long, and people were like, we don't care about that. We care about My Hero Academia. Did you see that tournament arc, bro? Shit was hype. And it was kind of like
now
that
everyone
a little
cares
bit. Again.
Yeah,
now everyone fucking cares again. I want to know what the fuck happened between season 2 and season 3. I know season 3 had some big plays going on in the plot, but what, like, I guess it was when MAPPA got their hands on it for the quote-unquote final season, and then we got fucking 5 parts of the final season, and now all of a sudden it's the new hot shit again, and I would just like to know, why? Not to say Attack on Titan is a bad show. I have only seen the first season, and it's been so long that I have to rewatch it to reform my opinion, but I just feel a little left out of the loop myself, and I just would like to understand why, when we used to care at one point, that we didn't care in the middle, and now we care more at the end.
I see what you're doing, NeonManta. You're talking about Attack on Titan, because who wants to talk about the finale of Rust Eater Biscuit? God, these are some moldy fucking biscuits.
I have 3 fucking notes about episode 11, because I was dead ass falling asleep.
I have 2 notes on episode 11. And one of them is just, so one of the children, his name is Nuts, I think.
Yeah.
And he says that he's the white whale fisher. And I literally just put white whale fisher, LMFAO, ReZero flashback. So that's my one note on episode 11, aside from, it's a fake out death, frowny face.
I can't believe that you didn't mention that your favorite girl and my favorite girl were together in the same scene for the first time.
Honestly, I wish Chiruru wasn't in this arc, because she, like, okay, so she has her sort of like
provides the information and then leaves.
Has no point. She does nothing. She feels completely shoehorned in, and I honestly wish. Like, okay, so the whole thing they're going with is like, oh, I'm a good person now. Yeah, I was thinking about how you said we're friends, and like, it's really warm.
They gotta
my
have
heart.
all of the characters in the last episode.
Yeah, and also that. But it's like, I want an entire episode of Chiruru coming to that realization. I want the show to take her character arc that seriously. I don't want her to just show up and be like, hey guys, power of friendship here.
I got the game facts guide to how to beat this Omega Titan.
Yeah, I just
found
asked
the Prima
the forums,
strategy
bro.
guide.
I just asked the forums how to beat what the fuck Ketsujin.
I redeemed my
Tetsujin.
Nintendo Gold points, and I downloaded the digital Kirby and the Forgotten Land strategy guide. Now we can revive the secret final boss.
Okay, so I feel like we're being a little sort of disorganized here. So let's recap in sort of basic terms why we're so mad. So
because episode 8 was fucking
9,
good.
Oh yeah, episode 8 was really good. All right, let's start with that. Let's go a little chronological, since I feel like it's kind of necessary to, like, sort of semi-chronological, just to get all the plot points in order so that everyone can realize why we're so mad. So episode 8 My notes were incredibly positive for that one.
Same.
It's
Dude,
basically
the episode literally opens up with Kurokawa playing Yu-Gi-Oh with one of his mushroom-possessed goons, further cementing how based he is.
that was amazing. Best
I
way
like
to
that
start
they kind
the
of
episode.
I like that they characterize Kurokawa as this kind of low-key fucking nerd who just wants to watch sci-fi movies and play Yu-Gi-Oh all day. But instead he's still gotta be the evil fucking governor of a post-apocalypse, so he's gotta be the evil big bad. And he still manages to pull off that menace surprisingly well, even when he's out here calling our main character the fucking Tuxedo Mask.
It's basically just this episode-long standoff. I forget the exact order of events, but like, they're staring at each other, and then Milo's like, haha, I got you, I tricked you, I had like this chemical in my bag, and then Kurokawa's like, well, actually, I saw this coming, and I carry the antidote on me all the time, and now I've shot you with a mind control arrow, and you're going to murder your best friend.
He was a mushroom keeper the whole time!
Oh my god.
And then
But yeah,
I like that
really
they let
fun.
us I like that they let us piece this detail together on our own instead of having to necessarily explain it to us. So Kurokawa was the evil mushroom keeper that was going around doing evil deeds from the previous episodes.
I didn't even realize that.
Well, yeah, they don't. Like I said, they don't tell you outright, but you kind of just put two and two together if you've been paying attention.
Oh, because he said like, oh, I was the one who smeared their reputation in the first place. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
He was the man behind the slaughter.
Oh yeah, my favorite part of the episode, and probably my favorite part of all 5 of these episodes in general, was when Milo shoots the arrow at Bisco. Right. All right. So Milo's under the mind control arrow. Well, it's not really a mind control arrow. It's more controlling his body. And
Same
then
difference.
he points. Yeah, basically that. But like, he's still consciously aware of what he's doing. So he's like, oh no, I'm about to shoot my best friend against my will.
He's getting
So
hit
then-
with the Shikamaru shadow possession jutsu.
I'll pretend I understood that.
You didn't watch the best part of Naruto. Cringe.
I didn't watch any Naruto.
That's a damn
So he
shame.
points the bow at Bisco, and he's like, I don't want to shoot my best friend. But then Bisco gives him like this, just this glance, like, do it. I know what I'm doing. And
Do it,
so,
pussy, you won't. No balls. No balls.
So he fires the arrow, and then Bisco, he grabs the arrow with his teeth, throws it with his mouth at Kurokawa, and hits him in the forehead. That was metal.
Not just his forehead, he took his fucking eye out. I'm pretty sure that he took his... yeah, because we don't see him with two eyes ever again until he becomes
'cause he has, like,
one
a
with
bandage.
the Titan. Yeah, until he becomes one with the Titan again, which was stupid, but we're getting off track. We'll get to that when we get to it.
When we get to that. So yeah, episode 8, simple appeals, fun standoff. Do you have anything else to say about it?
Oh, Crunchy, where are your complaints about it all taking place in one fucking room, huh? Oh, not much of an
Honestly,
action guy.
Well, this action isn't like explosions and guns and all that. It's more like it's a kind of action scene that I can enjoy more just because it's tense. It has a lot of characters standing around and being like, "Oh my god, you just did that? Oh, that's so crazy." No, it's not like fast-paced and frenetic. It's more like, characters just giving each other death glares for minutes on end. I enjoy that kind of scene.
It was
And in terms of one room, I guess it's just because there's more engaging stuff going on than... I know you're still salty about me hating on Dress Up Darling episode 2, but the actual things that were happening in the room were boring. So my attention wandered to we've been in this same room for ages on end.
Nah, your libido's just too low for that.
There's actually one complaint. I said I was moving on from this, but I actually have one complaint about
Before you get to that, you know what made Dress Up Darling episode 2 that much more enjoyable for you? If would it have made it more enjoyable if Kitagawa was holding a fucking gun up to Gojo the whole time, be like, take my measurements or I'm putting the bullet through your fucking skull, bro. Bust a cap in that ass.
Yeah, honestly, that'd make it 10 out of 10 amazing.
Yeah, actually, now that I say that out loud, kind of would.
That'd be incredible. Okay, but anyway. Okay, so there's this one part where, like, so Jabi comes in, he's like, Kurakawa hit you with this mushroom, and he gets flung into the ceiling, then falls back to the ground, and you're like, oh, that must have hurt. Maybe he's dead. Then it cuts away, and I forget what it cuts away to. But it's like some sort of scene that lasts like a couple minutes or something like that. Do you remember what it cuts to after that?
Is it the one where we see Jabi freeing Pawu, or is it the one where they're walking outside and they're getting shot at by Kurakawa's goons?
Okay, it's the one where he was freeing Pawu, yeah. So it shows him how he freed Pawu and all of that, and then it cuts back and they're outside. So some time has passed, and in that time, Kurakawa has been presumably, like, weak, trembling on the ground, not doing anything. Why didn't they kill him? Or at the very least, if they thought he was dead, why didn't they check his pulse to confirm that he was dead? Because after this, he uses his mind control to get all his servants to go attack them, but it's like, you could have killed him in that time. Like, am I missing something here?
No, you're not. It's just bad writing.
Yeah, I imagine this makes more sense in the light novels, because, like, you can just imagine that, there wasn't enough time, or, like, he immediately sicked the minions on them, or something like that.
Well, I suppose there's also the thing, Bisco and Milo are, like, super... No, Milo doesn't get infected with the rust until later. I'm pretty sure, because we see him succumb to a bunch of arrow fire and sink into a fake-out death at the end of the episode. And where he gets, like, super duper pooper scooper infected with the rust, and we already know that Bisco's infected with the rust. So maybe it was like a race against the clock. Oh, we gotta get you cured, bro. We gotta get you the fuck out of here just to get a rust and die.
Then why didn't they set it up? that would be my rebuttal to that.
They didn't think it through.
We need to cure you immediately. We don't even have time to kill the big baddie.
We don't have a time to just take an arrow and jam it through his brain. Even though he's literally incapable of moving.
Anyway. Yeah, so
it would have taken all of 5 seconds,
and
the rusting doesn't kill him for like at least another few hours. So
yeah, that sort of took me out of the experience. But I mean, overall, really great episode. I'd say thumbs up from me.
It's a good episode. And I'd say the next episode would have made an excellent series finale. So, how did they fuck it up afterwards?
I guess there's not really that much to talk about with episode 9, aside from it's just the face down between, face off between Bisco and Kurakawa. And it's fun. There's tons of fight and stuff. And one thing I do like is that Bisco gets like very
Bisco
like,
literally gets
really
his Doomslayer moment. Yeah, he is fucking man literally too angry to die moment, and it was very raw and very based. Like,
while I was watching that, I was like, oh my god, is he gonna be like armless and like without an eye for the rest of the series? Like, this is
he's gonna be without a life through the rest of the series, or so we thought.
You really want to get to that, huh? Okay,
skip
episode 9.
No. Episode 9's the last good episode. We gotta give its just due. I will say though, it was around episode 9 that I noticed, in this batch of episodes in particular, that it seems like the animation budget has run out over at Studio Oz that made this, or Naz or whatever. And you'll notice when watching the show, like I did, that there were a lot more still shots with barely any motion, almost like, and even though it's a light novel, very moving manga-esque. And like the moments where
Yeah.
there is actual animation, not ugly ass CG, it's not bad, but it's not nearly as good as it once was in the first half of the series, which is, I know, typical of a lot of anime, but it's especially noticeable here when we've got at least the very least the art is still as great looking as ever in stills. I don't think the show ever looks bad in stills when CG is not on screen.
To be honest, I wasn't like especially annoyed with the visuals just cuz like I was never impressed by Bisco's visuals. I know some people like really thought it looked good at the beginning, but I was just like, it looks fine. And the latter episodes, they look fine. They're not
Well, it also
good,
it helped to
and you
stand
can
out when
see-
its only competition at the time for against the other seasonals that it came out against was Dress Up Darling and Akabe Sailor Uniform in terms of good animation.
Yeah. It's like it's still one of the best looking things of the season. Like I did notice the stills and there are some like ugly frames and it's like, oh, that could have looked better. And then ew, CG vomits on the table. But I mean like it's fine.
Well, the thing with the stills that aren't the CG ones, just like the 2D, the character art, it doesn't look bad. It's just directed poorly. They like to hang on a lot of these still shots with no interesting motion going on for a little too long, and it gets on the nerves a little bit. But at least what I'm looking at isn't ugly. The character art on a moment-to-moment basis is consistently high quality, especially for these comparatively, or relatively rather, complex character designs.
Yeah. Honestly, the only moments where the directing really got on my nerves, we'll get to that in the later episodes. And then, let's see. I have a note that goes as, also animals with robot parts. What the fuck?
Yeah, apparently they weaponized fucking Harambe, and we just brushed that to the side in a matter of seconds.
Honestly, this show is so stream of consciousness nonsense that I was just like, that makes sense. Considering the world we're in, it makes sense.
It's only a matter of time before we get the fucking cybernetic implants in those gorillas and we throw them into the Middle East war on terrorism. We'll show them terrorists what's for once we you know, did you ever watch Invincible?
No.
Okay, well there's a part in Invincible where they bring soldiers back from the dead and reanimate them using like cybernetic exoskeletons. And what we gotta do now, we gotta do that same technology. We gotta bring back our fallen friend Harambe and let him get revenge on the guy who shot him in that zoo. It's only fair.
Honestly, if that happened, I don't think anyone would consider it unethical. I think we'd all be clapping and cheering.
It's an eye for an eye, you know. What the fuck else happened this episode? Oh yeah, Mushroom Bane, that similar to Harambe, got introduced with no fanfare and immediately dealt with in the span of like 15 seconds.
Mushroom Bane. Is that the monster on the bridge?
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of enjoyed how quickly he dispatched of it, just because it was funny. I was like, that's amusing.
I was like,
wow,
look at this.
Actually a well-designed monster, and it's like, he's gone.
It's like, all right, well, gone as quickly as you came. All right.
I will say that go on.
I was just gonna say, I have this one note in particular that I don't know. Maybe the fans of said show might lambaste me for this one, but I was kind of getting some One Piece vibes from watching this episodes 8 and 9 in particular. Have you seen like literally anything from One Piece?
Literally nothing. That's like 1,000 episodes. No way.
have you at least seen any like clips or just gotten like a feel for like the atmosphere and aesthetic of One Piece?
There was background footage of it in that one Unique Namosaurus video where he said you should pirate anime. So that's my experience with One Piece clips.
Well, I guess I'll just try to describe it the best way I can, because all I wrote down for the note was that it gives off One Piece vibes. Kurokawa definitely feels like he could have been a One Piece villain. Not in terms of like his power set, because if he were an actual villain, he'd either be like on the government or he has no power at all, but just holds a high-ranking authority and still going after the Straw Hat Pirates. It feels like with his menace coupled with his sort of goofiness, because he's kind of a fucking nerd, you know. And a lot of the characters in One Piece they manage to be simultaneously, if not at the same time, then at one moment badass and the next goofy as fuck. Which, to be fair, you could describe almost any shonen protagonist that way. But Kurokawa feels like he was ripped straight out of the pages of Oda's work. And to be fair, like, you're looking at... I am glad I'm not the only person I've seen online that I looked at Pawoo and was like, you know, she kind of reminds me of Nico Robin. And seeing people agree with me.
I do not know who Nico Robin is, but I'm assuming he or she is a One Piece character.
Okay, you've absolutely, at least once in your life, seen a picture of Nico Robin. Literally no way you haven't.
I probably have. Nico Robin.
Yeah, she's
the
the
I've
one
seen
with the
her
wedge
before.
nose. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm literally looking at her on Google Images right now.
Of
Okay,
course,
I
she was
see the
better when she
resemblance.
She was better when she was melanated. In later seasons, they pulled a Joe Biden and robbed her of her melanin. But yeah, I haven't seen a single episode of One Piece. I've just seen bits and pieces of clips. But I've seen enough of like the atmosphere and the world to be like, yeah, I get I know the feel of it. It's got this kind of this whimsy, sort of a bit of a fantastical vibe to it. And it's hard for me to describe without having seen it exactly, but it just feels very One Piece-esque.
Yeah, I guess I can get that. The only other thing I have to say about the episode before we get to the moment is that the dialogue between Bisco and Milo at the beginning was pretty playful and fun, especially when Milo was like, hey, you should date Pawoo. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't that be XD very funny, lol? And Bisco's like, no, no way, man.
He's trying to get those motherfuckers hitched when we all know that they are the OTP, Milo and Bisco.
Oh, the ending of this episode definitely solidified that.
He's fucking literal heartbreak. As in, I'm sure that arrow broke his heart into 2 pieces. Or so he thought.
So, do you want to get into the ending of episode 9?
Yeah, it's a big, very cool, very metal as hell scene where Kurokawa, after taking so many injuries and dealing so much damage and the rust just consuming Bisco's body, even if he's trying to crawl away in fear, Bisco on his Doomslayer shit, crawling, making his way towards him, and he's like, if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me, and then he throws both of them into the rust lava essentially below, and they sink into the burning rust, disintegrating them both. But just before he goes away, Bisco's like, Milo, well, I pass on all of my everything to you, my spirit, my ambitions. You will live on. I will live on through you. You will carry my soul. And my final wish is that you kill me, so I am not to be consumed by this rust. I want to die by a bro's hands. And he shoots him, and they both fall. And he falls into the rust, and he is consumed. And then Milo is to take up his mantle as what I thought he would take up the mantle as the Rust Eater Bisco. But apparently, Oz, and maybe the light novel author, assuming this goes the same way, had different plans.
All right, about the ending of episode 9, first of all, Milo x Bisco shippers, I guess, keep careful note of how Milo at the end says aishiteru instead of daisuki, which aishiteru is supposed to have like a romantic connotation to it, as well as it being very meaningful, very deep emotions being expressed. So honestly, I bullied you for this in the first podcast where I was like, no way Milo's into Bisco. Honestly, I think he is.
Bro, you saw that one
think I see
part
it that
in the
way
episode
now.
where he's like holding his hand
Yeah.
up against Bisco to be like, to check for his rust, and then Bisco's like, you gonna keep your hand there all night, bro?
Dude, Milo's
He
totally
wants
into
it.
him.
Then he gets cucked by his sister.
And then the second thing is that this scene genuinely had me convinced that Bisco was dead.
Oh, no, it got me too, bro.
Yeah.
I
they
believe...
really made it feel like he was absolutely dead. You see him get shot in the head with an arrow, then fall into what is basically lava.
He didn't get shot
he
in the
has
head.
to be dead.
He got shot in the chest, to be fair.
Oh,
but,
in the chest? Okay.
Yeah, but either way, that's still, like, very much putting the nail in the coffin of, like, here we have Bisco being like, please, Milo, kill me. I do not want this rust to take my life. I want you to be the one to end my life. I want to go out on my own terms. And Milo obliges, and does exactly what Bisco is requesting, so we as the audience can only take him at his word, which is essentially also the word of the author. Then the author's word is law, that this is the killing blow for Bisco. This is the end of Bisco, so it's only natural that we as the audience assume that he's dead. So when he comes back to life at the end of episode 11... it's a bit of an ass pull, and I feel a little insulted.
I was so mad when he came back from the dead. I was
Dude,
how?
I was
Why?
falling asleep. I was falling asleep during episode 11, and what woke me up from my trance was seeing an arm burst its way out of the Tetsujin, and then make its way out, and then his arms like glowing with the power of God and anime and mushrooms and shit. And it's like what? I thought he was a ghost at first. I thought it was like his soul had come back from beyond the grave, his force ghost, and was gonna help Milo in this final battle. But no, he's just alive and well. In fact, even more alive. In fact, it's implied by the end of the series that he's immortal now. He has eternal youth.
Oh yeah, it was implied like that. Okay, so when his arm came out, I remember I paused the episode and I was like, not this. Not
this way. Not this way, Oz.
No, why would you do that? Why? Okay, so the explanation they give is that while they were fighting the pipe snake, the poison got into Bisco's body, which caused him to gain resistance to the rusting. This also apparently gives him the ability to regrow limbs, because spores are the essence of life.
Hey, I got
Excuse
a
me.
question. Was Milo not in that same pipe snake mouth? Was he not literally in the same fucking flashback with Bisco? Unless I'm misremembering something. Unless like did Bisco
Honestly,
like get swallowed by the pipe snake itself and then they had to like cut him out or some shit?
I forget, honestly, so I can't really contradict the show there. But even without knowing, like, just even assuming, all right, they, like, Bisco got hit with the pipe snake's poison, and Milo somehow didn't. Still bullshit, all right? And here's why. So first of all, why does Bisco, reversing the rust? Like, okay, he's completely rusted, presumably, like, barely conscious, and then he can just evaporate it all instantly. Why does that only happen when he, quote-unquote, feels a presence calling him from the other side, which the other side being the other side of life? as in he's basically dead. Like, why does it suddenly activate now? Is it like, does it just work only when he's willing himself to live, and otherwise the rust just affects him normally? That doesn't make sense.
There's a very logical explanation. Obviously, he got hit with Giorno Giovanna's stand, gold experience, and brought him back as a zombie, prolonging his life even after he died. You have not seen JoJo Part 5 yet, so you don't understand this, but when you watch Part 5,
I don't understand, but I'm assuming it's a very hilarious joke.
It's very, very hilarious. All the JoJo fans in the audience, in the Rust Eater Bisco audience, are losing it right now.
Okay, my question, this is another question I have, all right? So he was in the Tetsujin, completely buried.
Yep.
How did he breathe? Does
spores?
Do spores just have air
Spores, I
in
guess.
them?
Spores, dude. They're like the
Dude.
midichlorians.
All right, listen. There's one line where Milo's like, oh, or I think it's Milo. It might have been Bisco, but I think it's Milo. He was like, the spores are like the essence of life. One line, and then all of a sudden, Bisco can regenerate lost limbs, breathe when he's buried alive, fall into lava completely unscathed in the end. It's like, that's
He's
just
Mushroom
semantics.
Jesus, bro.
Milo's like Milo.
3 days
saying
later,
spores
he
are the
rose
essence
from
of
the
life.
grave.
That's like Nisio Eason level semantics right here. Why are we basing the plot of a show off of this?
Yeah, the ending is very stupid, and it would have worked a lot better if we just ended after episode 9. And if we had to hit the 12 episode count, we couldn't just have a 9 episode show, because God forbid we had paced this shit. Then why couldn't the story just have a few more self-contained adventures in between the episode 9 and when they go out into the world and explore shit? Get a few more Kino's Journey-esque scenarios in there. Hey, we can maybe even get that episode of Chiruru, like you were talking about, of her coming to this conclusion on her own to help out and make friends with people. But nope.
Honestly, when I saw that there were 3 episodes left, all right, I know you were like, what? But I was like, okay, so we're gonna see Milo, sort of grappling with his death, and then he's gonna meet up with Chiruru, and they're gonna resolve to, take up the mantle of the Rust Eater, and they're gonna find new Rust Eaters, because Tetsujin destroyed all the Rust Eater flowers, and so it's like, we're gonna go on a new journey, this time with Chiruru as the deuteragonist, and maybe Milo will finally learn to like women.
The gay conversion therapy at work.
And maybe Pawu could be with them too. It'd be like 3 people on a journey, maybe even Jabi every once in a while, and looking, going on more fun, rusty adventures. Episode 12 would be like, and then we went out on a new journey for new Rust Eater Bisco stuff. No, that's where I thought it was going.
We want to be the very best Rust Eater Bisco like no one ever was.
Exactly.
To cure the rust is our real test. To spread the mushrooms is our cause. Then Bisco becomes Mushroom Jesus, and the show I don't care anymore.
He walks on spores just like Jesus walked on water.
Hey, at least Chad Pawu got to suck face with Jesus, and then makes light of it later. That was the one good line in the whole ending bit where she's like, Jabi's like, you seem pretty chipper, like for someone running toward her death, and she's like, I'm not afraid to die. I just tasted the tongue of a living god. And I'm like, based Pawu.
That kiss and that subsequent line were the only good part of episode 12. Unless I'm forgetting something, that was the only part that didn't make me viscerally unhappy to see unfold before me. Something just as stupid as Bisco coming back from the dead, though, why did Kurakawa also come back from the dead? And moreover, the show doesn't even try to explain that one. They at least gave an explanation for Bisco coming back from the dead. They didn't even try for Kurakawa.
His hatred of Bisco burned so strong that it allowed him to take over the once dormant monster and then wreak havoc on the land. It's thematic, but not really, because it doesn't make any fucking sense and hurts the narrative by just including it.
This is some Your Name tier emotional storytelling right here.
Whoa. Let's don't even fucking compare Shinkai's work to this abomination.
Okay, to be fair, the final episode of Rust Eater Bisco is much worse than Your Name. Even though I dislike Your Name, this is -1 out of 10. That is what I give episode 12 of Rust Eater Bisco, because it makes me dead inside.
If to be the most fair possible, aside from the obvious bullshit that is the basis of what spurs the climax of episode 12, the series of events that follow on their own in a little bubble is not bad? Question mark, maybe? It doesn't like, aside from Bisco coming back to life and Kurakawa coming back to life as well, that's the only part of the show that, like, I feel like my time has been wasted and my intelligence has been insulted. But
yeah,
aside from that, it's kind of goes back to standard affair, to like what, aside from this bullshit happening, how are the events and the nature of these events that transpire any different from the nature of the events that have happened throughout these last 12 episodes?
Well, see, the problem here is that sure, it's not contradictory in nature to the rest of the show. The problem is that it's the parts of the show that I didn't like, which is the long, distended action sequences where it feels like it just drags on. That's the sort of stuff I'm biased against and don't really enjoy seeing. And what's worse than that is that they're fighting a poorly animated CG Attack on Titan ripoff. And even worse than that, the directing in no way conveys the scale of the threat. I felt like
that
at
is
every
a good
turn,
point.
It felt just superimposed on there, like almost goofy at times. Like, there's like this beautiful scenery, not beautiful, but like clean-ish looking scenery. It looks adequate. Then boom, crusty CG monster running in the background, about to take over. It's kind of funny if you think about it.
Yeah, they do a poor job of conveying the scale of this, what's supposed to be a big-ass Titan. It works in some shots when they're like looking over and when he's like shooting the big ol' fire juice at people, but in other shots, like, because they keep like jumping all around and like using the crab to get mad air, bro, so that way they could do shit like get on its arms or like hit it in the face. And like we don't get like a sense of how high the crab jumped. We just see it, like we see there's a shot of it on the ground, the next shot it's in the air because it jumped, but we don't see like a shot of like really pulled back. We like get the Titan in full frame from top to bottom, and we see a little black speck that is the crab jumping up, so we get an idea of how big it is. And there's not any good use of perspective, and it's just kind of not good.
'Cause the budget's running out, and we can't do that stuff anymore. Yay!
I'm going through my notes for like scraping for like literally anything to say, because we're about like 15 minutes from the hour mark. But I don't think we're gonna reach an hour for this one.
This show has. Go on.
I was just gonna say the one thing that I liked about the like episode 10 was that I like how Milo adopts Bisco's personality to like keep his soul to have his soul live on through him. I thought that was a nice touch. That was like the closest thing to thematic resolution that the show had.
That was actually, I had a few notes about that. To quote my words in my Google Doc. Also, I really like Milo LARPing as Bisco. It was really, it's like really touching and like, you know, sort of like adopting that personality to carry on the torch of Bisco.
I was actually
resonance.
scared. I was actually scared at first when the Titans started moaning Akaboshi's name, and I was like as soon as he started moaning his name in that voice, I immediately put it together that he's possessing the giant for some reason. And so I got scared when Milo started acting more and more like Bisco. I got scared that Bisco, not unlike how Kurokawa possessed this giant, is possessing Milo to make him act not because he wants to in order to honor his friend, but because he is quite literally possessed by Bisco's ghost or some shit. Little did I know that I would have been wishing for that in about 20 minutes. I would have been like, oh, wait, no, go back to what I thought was going to happen, because this is way worse.
Actually,
this is literally the worst timeline.
I have in my notes my very initial reaction to see that scene where he says, Akaboshi. I put, the Tetsujin said Akaboshi in Kurokawa's voice, ... Don't tell me, ...
Maybe he's just a big fan of the Akaboshi Rockets, and he was trying to see them play the fucking JoJo Part 6 opening live on concert.
You keep on making JoJo references I don't understand.
You watched Part 6. You should know that one.
Okay, hold on. Say it again. I might recognize it this time.
Akaboshi Rocket, the band, or at least the singer from the band who did the opening. Uncultured. You have been
doesn't ring a bell.
in front of our audience. They did
no,
the
I've
fucking
been
High School of the
exposed.
Dead opening.
I'm not that cultured about people who sing.
You cringe. I cringe at you. You gotta know your Japanese bands. You gotta know your Nihon bands, bro.
I'm uncultured, okay?
Have you
that's
even
too many names
played?
to remember.
What's that fucking thing called online? Where you guess the song based on My Anime List uploads. Where you have to like guess the opening or the ending. I don't know. It's that thing. I don't know. It's that thing. People know in the comments don't know what I'm talking about.
All right. Oh yeah. The only thing I have left to say that I can think of is that this show has an obsession with characters coming in at the last second to save
I was
someone.
about to say. I was gonna say, yeah. By the way, you want to play the next time you ever watch? If you having a party, if you're throwing your next like anime shindig, and you're getting the boys together, and you want to get wasted watching some anime, I got the fucking perfect drinking game for you and your boys. All right, so you pull up Rusty to Bisco, you get your shots all in front of you, and you take a shot every time a character saves another character at the last possible minute. You're welcome. Good times all around. You can thank me later.
There was one point while I was writing the notes where I was like trying to list them all, and then after a certain point I was just like, I give up. It's too many.
I don't care to actually, but it would be funny if someone made a supercut of every single time someone saved a character at the last possible minute. I feel like it happened 8 to 10 times in this last batch of episodes alone.
Honestly, you know, that sounds like an exaggeration, but I don't think it is. I think it's genuinely around that many times. There's like 3 per episode, something insane like that. It's ridiculous.
Bro, fucking Bisco saves Milo, and like let's go down the list in fucking episode 8 alone, all right? Bisco saves Milo, and then Jabi saves Bisco and Milo, and then Pawu
In
shows
episode
up.
Oh yeah, Pawu also shows up.
I'm trying to remember if Pawu fights at the end of episode 8. I don't think she does. I think she fights in episode 9. But even still,
Yeah.
like she does show up to fight Harambe to save Jabi from Harambe. it happens so many fucking times, and it gets on my nerves because like this is how you are going to ratchet up the tension, or like try to like this is how you wind the tension down. Rather, you're just gonna have characters wait in the wings, waiting for their fucking cue to be like, okay, now, and then they rush in and hit the bad guy really hard. It gets grating. You gotta spice it up.
After the first few times, I was like, okay, this is happening a lot, but it's kind of funny how often it's happening. And then it just kept on and kept on. I was like, it's not funny anymore. It's like, I really want something else. Please just do anything else. This isn't a plot twist anymore. It's not a plot twist if you do it 17 times.
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't have anything more to say.
Chiruru finding the like the military helicopter landing right in front of Chiruru. Was that like a coincidence, or was there like a reason for the helicopter to land there that I just somehow missed?
I think that was the location that Pawu tracked down the governor to save Jabi at first, and Chiruru just happened to show up there. I think she was trying to trade with them, which is really stupid because they were the ones that put a fucking grub in her that was gonna eat her way out for her stomach and kill her if she betrayed them. And then she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go sell my shit to these guys.
Okay, so if it's because she wants to trade, then it's bad writing because Chiruru would obviously be like, no way am I gonna trade with you again. You know, she seems like the type to hold that kind of grudge. But then if it's a coincidence, then it's also kind of not great writing, because it's like, that's of all the places. I don't know. Maybe that's a nitpick. That's all I got.
You can allow that one to be a nitpick when there's so much fertile ground to just shit all over for justifiable reasons.
Is that your final note?
Kurokawa gets Akira to death, the Rust Eater spreads all throughout the land and cures Pawu, Jabi, all of our main boys of their rust. Let's see, Pawu becomes governor, declares independence from Japan, and then Milo, alongside Bisco, now becomes a wanted man by the government for giving out the cure for free, just like the government with cancer in real life, but don't tell him I said that.
It's just such a sickeningly happy ending.
Yep. It's just like, man, can we go back to the first half of the show? Can we go back to the episodes 8 and 9? I like it when it was that show.
When Bisco died, I thought I'd be giving this because, all right, so the last podcast, I said, oh, it's like a solid 6 out of 10. And I was ready to raise it to a 7. Once episode 9 ended, and I was like, Bisco's dead. This is really good. But then all that happened. So what would your final score for the show be?
I was thinking at first, maybe I should be a little generous. Maybe I should cut it some mercy and give it a 6. For being, it's all right. It's it gets a little stupid. Gets at the end, but the more I thought about it, and now especially after talking about it and how it doesn't make sense, it destroys the narrative of the all my emotional investment has gone out the window. I'm thinking 5, and I'm thinking
agree completely.
I'm thinking we gotta slap Bisco with a good ol' "it's a not good show" label.
Honestly, if a season 2 of Bisco came out, I wouldn't watch it.
Neither would I.
Impossible for me to unless I heard something like, oh, it's just 12 episodes of them going to wacky new locations. Then I might try it out. But if
they told me it was 12
serious,
episodes of Pawu and Chiruru having hot lesbian sex, then maybe I would consider giving it another chance.
I would also watch that version of the show. But, God, there's just, if it tries to have a serious plot from here on out, it's not gonna be, it's impossible to get invested, because it's well, we've already fallen this far. episode 12 is like a 1, or maybe if I'm feeling generous, like a 2 out of 10. It's absolute garbage. Actually, no, screw that, 1 out of 10. It's such a bad episode. How would I ever regain my investment for the show?
You don't even have to worry about it, bro. From the way that the show ends, this has one and done, one tap season all over it. There is not going to be a season 2 of this. This is going to fade into obscurity. It's already got a 7.25 on Mal, which is nothing special at all. Let me check where it ended up on the seasonal chart now that the season is over.
It actually has
It's still in 5th place. It's still the most popular non-sequel show just behind Dress Up Darling, which it has like triple the number of users of. and 1.2 average higher score. I have a feeling that even despite all that, it's going to fade away into obscurity, and we're going to forget about it by the end of the year when it comes time to look back upon all the shows that came out this year. And I was like, oh yeah, that show, that happened. So now, do you have any other notes?
Hold on. Oh yeah, remember last episode when I was talking about we're talking about Dress Up Darling, and I started off with the story about how I read the finale of Katanagatari and hated it. I think this is worse. I think this is worse than that. And I was pissed at that one. This is probably the worst ending to any show I've ever seen.
Oh wow. It's a bad ending. I wouldn't go that far. I've seen worse.
I haven't seen enough terrible endings.
There's this one last question that I would like to pose for the remainder of this podcast, because I think we've exhausted all of our talk of this chunk of episodes. Why is it that this dramatic narrative show had so few, if any at all, like interesting themes worth talking about? Why did it seem like such a even back when it was at its good part in the last half of this show, when we gave it somewhere like around a 6 or a 7 level of quality, when we still considered it to be like of a passable quality? Why is it we were so lukewarm on the show, like even overall, and a comparatively no stakes slice of life romance show like Dress Up Darling got us so invested and resonated with us so emotionally when there's like no dramatic narrative in Dress Up Darling?
Because slice of life is just a better genre, man.
I mean,
slice of life supremacy.
That objective truth aside, what would you say is like the cuts to the core? Why can a show as casual and fluffy and no stakes as Dress Up Darling give us more to talk about and more to latch onto than the show with a driving narrative, a story of world building and lore, and yet we're left out in the cold?
You know, the other day I was at Barnes & Noble and I saw the Sabikui Bisco light novel, and I was like, should I buy that? And I opted not to that day. And now I couldn't be more glad.
So we're just gonna ignore my question, huh?
I thought it was a rhetorical question.
No, it's not rhetorical. I'm being genuine. I want to get your insight.
Oh, okay. It's because Gojo and Kitagawa are better characters. It's because the show tries for like serious emotional arcs. It's because it's got really funny humor. It's because it didn't have a terrible ending that completely undid the death of a character. You know, it didn't insult the audience's intelligence on that level. And granted, some of this stuff is true, sort of, for Sabikui Bisco, because it's, like, some of the dialogue is funny, but it's like, it's all to a lesser extent in Rusty Bisco. I'm just switching between Sabikui and Rust Eater at this point. Don't mind me. But it's like it's all to a lesser extent in Rust Eater Bisco, whereas Dress Up Darling has so much more of those things. Plus, it's got like some interesting themes on top of that. Sprinkle in just amazingness. There you go. You got yourself a better show.
It's just like really funny. Like this was the main thought I was thinking about, even like coming after the first batch of both Dress Up Darling and Rust Eater Bisco episodes. I was thinking to myself, now why am I like so prepared to award Dress Up Darling with like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 just after these first 7 episodes, and yet I'm coming away from this show that I'll flop my dick on the table right now. I prefer narrative shows to these slice of life cutesy shows. Not to say I can't enjoy them, because I think, like, especially when they're done really well. I haven't seen fucking K-On! Or Nichijou yet, but I'm sure I'm gonna love them because they're not just because they're KyoAni, the best anime studio in the fucking game, but also because they have a lot of effort and talent and like wackiness. I've seen the clips. I've seen shit that like resonates with me and tickles my fancy, jerks the gherkin. And I come away from a show like Bisco that is supposed to tick all of the boxes, but like for real, because I like to go to shows that have long form narratives. I like long form storytelling. I like being able to look at a character from between episode 1 and episode 100 and see how much they've changed, how far they've come, how much they've grown, and appreciate the time investment put in, being like following them along their journey and be like, wow, we've seen some shit, we've been some places, and we've like it's not just the characters that have changed. I think I've changed a little with them. And then like even going as far just to compare Dress Up Darling and Bisco, we see that I'd say both characters have changed between the beginning and ends of their respective stories, but there's a lot more of an emotional resonance with Dress Up Darling because they have themes to latch onto. There's the themes of art and like the artist improvement, what it means to like resonate with art in general, to be attracted to specific things and being particular about specific things, and why maybe sometimes you don't feel like you're good enough to do the thing that you love to do, but you do it anyway just because you love to do it, even if it's not like the most profitable thing in the world. Whereas what's the theme, what are the themes in Rust Eater Bisco? There's that one where they pass along like the ambition of one man to another, that Bisco inspires in Milo so much that he adopts his personality, which was cute. I liked that. And my brain struggles to think of more themes. I cannot think of a single other theme.
I feel like that's government is corrupt.
Well, that's just life, bro. I don't need
Yeah.
I don't need fiction to tell me that. I learned that all the time by just opening Twitter, bro.
You were talking about how you're so much more invested in Gojo and Kitagawa, and I think, as you explained that, I think I figured out what it is. I was talking earlier about how I wanted an episode dedicated to Chiruru learning, hey, I should trust in friends and have friends and be a good person and all that. Alright, Dress Up Darling is the type of show that would do that. The writer behind Dress Up Darling would make an episode entirely dedicated to Chiruru changing as a person. The author of Rust Eater Bisco wouldn't. The actual character arcs between, and how it's portrayed, in Rust Eater Bisco, it's a lot less of a focus. It's like the arcs have a lot less screen time dedicated to them. And granted, it's fighting with stuff like, this weird, crazy world and politics shenanigans. So in a 12-episode anime, to have that much plot, obviously they kind of have to not focus on it as much. Although, then again, they could have cut down the action scenes, but it's like, when you're not willing to show, if you're not willing to dedicate all that time to the characters and their emotional changes and getting the audience to care about them changing as people, then, your loss, I guess.
Bro, the author of My Dress Up Darling, or at least maybe not even just the author, the show. They gave an entire episode, just one, mind you, not even like the entire full length. We didn't follow her from beginning to end exclusively, but they gave one whole episode to fucking, what's the sister's name? Shinju?
Sajina, I think.
Was
Shinju.
Sajina
You're right.
the big sister?
Sajina was the lolly.
Yeah, Sajina's the lolly. Shinju's the little sister with the big tits. They gave her an episode, and they got me. Even though as you said, it worked on us to differing degrees. Think you would agree with me too. I care more about Shinju coming out of her one episode than I care for the multiple episodes that Chiruru was in throughout this show's entire length. And these shows had equal length.
Honestly, I think I like Chiruru more as a character, though then again, she personally appeals to me in a lot of ways. But I also feel a little cucked that her development got so cut short, and I think that Shinju's narrative is, in the end, more satisfying, even if I do like Chiruru as a character more, just because personal appeal, I like her.
But what does that say about the quality of the narratives at work when this character that you don't even, as you maybe designed or just personality wise, you don't even like as much, gets one episode and has a more satisfying narrative than this one whose narrative you can argue stretches for multiple episodes and you don't like it as much?
Because the character development just wasn't shown. That was all sort of off-screen decision come to very quickly. What I'm talking about. Show character development. That's what gets people to care about your show. And when you don't show that, that's what gets you with a 7.25 on Mal.
And you didn't have enough characters in bathing suits getting their measurements taken for an entire episode, and that's why Dress Up Darling's sitting at the 8.46 that it currently is.
Well, that's just you being horny.
Well, not even just that, bro. There is fucking I'll argue this to the day that I die. There is character development going on in that fucking sex hotel scene in Dress Up Darling when they're just holding each other, and we were going off on that scene so hard in the last podcast, and it is a turning point. The shit's not the same after it.
They have experienced things. That's another one-room scene that lasted an entire episode that I liked. It's not all of them. It depends on how you do it, Neon.
Oh, so the bathing suits one is a bridge too far, but when it's a fucking porn demon costume, it's A-okay.
The swimsuit scene wasn't far enough. That's the issue.
We can both agree on that. And with that, I have exhausted everything that I ever want to say about Rusty Bisco in my entire life.
Maybe not in my entire life, but I will look back on this show with gritted teeth.
If we do a year-end podcast where we that's a good idea actually. We should do at the end of the year, we look back on all of the shows that we've seen, even on the podcast or outside of the podcast that came out this year, as our own year-end roundup, reviewing maybe even a top or bottom list of the shows that came out. And I think this one's gonna end up on the bottom side.
Yeah, honestly, out of the stuff I finished, this will probably be down there.
Well, it's a good thing we got banned from the Rust Eater Bisco subreddit because they wouldn't like this episode.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I didn't check in ever since I got banned, so... You know what? I'm going to do something really funny. r/Sabikui Bisco. I'm going to see how the fans reacted to the ending.
I saw the Mal reviews at the very least, and they were not positive towards the ending of the show in particular.
Yeah, I saw the top two of the top 3 things was like 3 out of 10s.
3 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Oh, and
Just
the 5 out of
finished the
10
anime.
literally starts with Sabikui Bisco as a prime example of you had me in the first half.
I stopped after episode 10. I couldn't find myself able to watch after episode 10 because of Bisco's death. I was literally crying my eyes out during the scene. I have no idea what happens after. I was wondering if continuing was worth it, and if so, tell me.
He has to be trolling.
And then the top comment is under it is, "Trust me, keep going," with the cat-faced wink emoji.
Oh god, not the cat face wink.
Imagine being that cucked. Could never be me. Yeah, that's I think that's just the end of the podcast now.
Hey, in the spirit of things, do you want to just end off the podcast with a collective sigh?
Well, we gotta do our plugs first. We gotta
Oh,
remind
yeah, true.
the good viewers to, if they enjoyed the podcast, like the video, comment what you thought of Rusty or Bisco, if you decided to keep up with the show past episode 9. If you did, God bless. And if you enjoyed, please subscribe. We've got the seasonal podcast of spring 2022. It's cooking. It's in the works. We're gonna drop both episodes hopefully in the month of April. I'm gonna try my hardest to get them out on time.
That is ambitious.
Good. It's gonna be some hype shit. Hype shit is coming.
If you like the video, be sure to like it. If you dislike it, be sure to dislike it because we have the dislikes enabled Chrome extension on. So we'll actually see it.
And we will get
but please like
the algorithm boost either way. So if you do dislike it, we'd rather you like it, but either way, the system is working.
I guess I'll plug my stuff. I plan on uploading sometime next century.
How is the Shield Hero video?
Honestly, I gave up on it.
Has
I
anything
have
taken
a
its
new
place?
Video. Something has taken its place, but I'm genuinely afraid to say what it is. Not because it's bad or anything, but because if I say what it is, I know it's gonna come around to haunt me. And I'm gonna be like, can't get this one out either. This project's fallen through too. So I'm just gonna keep it a secret until the script is literally 100% completed. And until then, it's just gonna be a secret lingering in the back of your minds.
Damn, I guess they're gonna have to subscribe to youtube.com/crunchybagels in order to find out what it is when it drops. That's pretty much the end of it. So I'm NeonManta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels. Do we do
And
our
you'll
sign
see
out?
us next time. Fuck this show! And that's where we're gonna end it.
Awesome.